very quiet, okay? I'll try to fix the audio for us.
Planet where you guys are because it's pretty beautiful. Huh? Can you hear me now? Better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We're actually flying backwards today. We turned the space station around, and so now we're flying with the back of the space station actually going first because we got a new spacecraft last night. A progress vehicle docked to the space station on the back, so it was easier for it to come and dock if we turned around and flew backwards. And you know, I didn't know that. Did you guys know that up in space you can fly backwards? Did you know that? It doesn't matter. So like, you know, you guys have been in an airplane before, maybe, right? And the pointy end of the airplane has to go forward because there's air, right? And a wing foil, an airfoil, has to have air coming over it to actually create lift so it flies. But guess what? Up here there's no air, right? Like outside it's the vacuum of space. And so it doesn't matter if the big blob that we're on, the big space station, is flying forwards, backwards, upside down, sideways, it doesn't even matter. And so we do that every now and then. We just flipped around last night. We're flying like this, and then all of a sudden we turned around and we're flying backwards. So today we're flying backwards, so it's easier for our visiting spacecraft to come and join us. So anyway, welcome to the International Space Station. That's why I'm pointing back this way. This is the Russian part of the space station in the back. And things I was showing out the window real quick so you get an idea of what things look like, is a Russian spacecraft called the Soyuz, which is docked right there. That's the Soyuz, that black one with the white on the top. So that's a spacecraft that's docked. There's another spacecraft that looks like that, way in the back there. I don't know if I can point with my finger, but way in the back, you can barely see its solar ring. But that guy just docked to the space station last night, and it looks just like this one. So let's see what else, just to tell you about our the space station. This is what the outside looks like. You can see the modules. See there how they're round like this? On the U.S. part of the space station, they're all round because they came up in a space shuttle. And then we put this whole thing together up here in space. And so that's why we did a bunch of spacewalks about 20 years ago. And then between 2000 and 2010, we built this space station. And we're all solar powered up here. We have big solar arrays. We have no other way to really generate power. We have gas tanks, but that's only to propel us, to move us up and down in our orbit. But our solar arrays, which we have 8 of them, give us all the power. You want a quick little tour of inside? Now that you see what outside looks like?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I'm coming out of the cupola, and I'm coming down into what we call the gym. Really, this is I'm just going to twirl around a little bit. This is our bar. We do weightlifting with this bar. You can see like a normal barbell right here. But we could put 600 pounds of weight on that, and we have to do that because we lose bone density in our hips and our legs because we don't walk. So our bones start to go away. So we have to do a little bit of weightlifting, and we can put up to 600 pounds on this bar, and that's how we can do weightlifting and do load stuff. So people know that, like, as you get older, you want to do a little bit of load stuff, and that's exactly what's happening here. Some of our bones are going away, so we have to do that. Twirling around a little bit, because another thing we do for exercise is we have to run. So you have a treadmill. It's on the wall right here, but it doesn't. This is the floor, but it doesn't really matter if it's on the wall because all I got to do is put my feet down here, and then I can stand up, and I feel like I'm standing up on the wall. I'm going to turn it around real quick. Takes a couple of times. And now I feel like I'm just standing up, even though I'm standing on the wall. My feet are on the treadmill, and I just got to put a harness on myself, and then I can strap into this budgies on the floor, and then I can start to run on the wall, and I have no idea that I'm on the wall. It doesn't matter. I have no sensation of up and your school, and maybe you're getting ready, you're getting dressed, and you go like, oh gosh, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna have to go run. I better go to the bathroom before I go out and go run, right? Is that true? Does that happen sometimes? So luckily, our bathroom is right next to our treadmill. So this is our bathroom right here. Just because everybody always likes to see what the bathroom looks like. So there's a little, here, I'm gonna flip it around one more time. And then we'll get flying around and doing some other fun stuff, but things you have to see. So this is our little toilet right here. So we can go number 2 in that little guy right there. And this is little number 1 right here. You go in that little tube. So we're in space, right? So remember, what happens to all this stuff if you go number 1 or number 2? It's gonna float around like my hair, right? Like my hair is sticking straight up. So we don't want that to happen. So we turn this little valve on right here, and it creates some suction, just like a vacuum cleaner, and that will suck down the number 1 inside of here. And it also creates a little suction down here through this little thing right here, this little hose, and it pulls number 2 down. And so that way we can put all our number 2 in there, put all our number 1 in here. And it's very important that those things are separate, because all of that number 1 and all of our sweat from all this working out goes in the system underground here, under the floor, and this pot right here, and that one over there, and all of that gets turned into our drinking water. Like, what? Are you kidding me? Right? So, right nearby, conveniently located, is the kitchen. And here, I'm going to turn it around one more time. Oh, by the way, there's Alex. Alex is just hanging out. Alex is just floating around, just hanging out, eating lunch, reading a little bit on his computer, like all you youngsters are. Alex is a little younger than me, so just hanging out, doing his computer stuff. But we're in the kitchen. Alex and I are. And all that pee, that turns into this nice, clean, pretty water right here. See? The bubbles. And it tastes yummy. Oh, it doesn't look like pee. You're so full of it. It's clear, crystal clear. It's very, very clean. Lots, many filters, so don't worry. So, also, this is our kitchen, and this is how we actually get water. So, I'll give you an example real quick. This is broccoli and cheese, which is one of my favorites, broccoli and gratin. So, some of the food comes like this. This is all dehydrated, looks like a little patty. And we just push it into the water fountain right here. Dial in how much you take. It's 100 milliliters. So, turn it on, push the button, and abracadabra. Hold on, I'll show you. Ta-da! Broccoli and cheese. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? There's a couple of big pieces of broccoli in here, and then it's a little bit cheese. It's actually a little massage like this, and it's ready to go. But if you want it to be really good and not too watery, then you stick it in our little oven here. And some of our food is dehydrated, like I showed you, but some other food is like already made, and all we have to do is heat it up. So this is curry vegetables, curry sauce with vegetables, which is really yummy. So that's the broccoli. Put it back in there. And then, sometimes you want something a little cold too, so we have a refrigerator. And here's our refrigerator. And I have some orange juice getting nice and cold in there. And I also have something I dehydrated already. This is fish and mango salad. So they have all sorts of stuff up here. All sorts we caught it looking at Earth in daytime, which was cool. But it's really sunny out there, and so you have to be very careful about your eyes, right? So what you usually do at home is you put your sunglasses on, right? But we can't put our sunglasses on because there's a helmet right here, so you can't just put glasses on. So instead, we have a built-in visor right there, and that is our sunglasses. So when it's sunny out, we just reach our hand up, our hand from our suit over here, and then just put our sunglasses up or down. And then when it's nighttime, we turn our lights on right here. So that's how we can see. And we have all sorts of big tools. This is our tool belt in front of us right here. So if we have any tools that we're going to use while we're out on a spacewalk, we carry them right in front of us right there. Let me just show you a little bit more of the space station. Then I hope you guys have some questions. You can see it's like a little tube. I'm going to fly right now through the U.S. lab, fly you guys through the lab, where we do all sorts of science experiments. We have 3 laboratories. This one, a European one, and a Japanese one. But in the meantime, there's Don. All sorts of crew members here. Right in between the laboratories are our bedrooms. And so we each have a little bedroom. There's my sleeping bag, and this is my little room. As you can see, I'm gearing up for springtime baseball. I have my Patriot shirt on, but getting ready for the Red Sox to have a good year this year. But this is my sleeping bag. This is my little room, and there's my computer, and just the little things that I have. A little Bill Belichick right there. Do your job. Anyway, there's one sleep station on the ground, on the floor. There's another one on the other side, and there's one on the ceiling. But remember, just like the treadmill, it doesn't matter if you're upside down, upside right. Once you get into your little sleep station and you close the door, you don't know whether it's up or it's down. And this is the front of the space station. Right behind these white things is a hatch for the spacecraft that's coming up soon. And our spacecraft is right up there. I can take for a little spin. But Don is in the Japanese laboratory getting ready to do some really cool experiments. We might come back out to that. And then over here is the European laboratory, where we do a lot of experiments on ourselves. Sometimes we look at our eyes, sometimes we take our blood. We have an ultrasound machine. So we can do all sorts of things on ourselves in this module right here, as well as we do some 3D printing. I think some of you guys might know what that is, right? Some metal 3D printing, we're learning how to do that, and we actually have done some biofabrication where we made some heart cells up here also. So there's all sorts of science going on in these laboratories. Let's see, we'll fly over here, and then you guys might have some questions. Is it time for some questions? What do you think?
Yes. Yep. Questions now.
Okay, sure. I'm going to come down to the end, and we're going to go a little bit past Don. By the way, we have lettuce growing right behind us, right there. We have a couple centrifuges right here where we've had some mice and some plants where we could centrifuge them and have them be alive and grow up here. Don is doing cool experiments here. Maybe we'll see some of that in a sec. But I'm ready for some questions.
All right, if you have a question, you can stand right in front of the camera here and ask your question. We'll go with you first.
What comet hit you? When
Did I lose you
the
already?
comet hit the International Space Station, what would you do?
Okay, great. You can see that.
Wait, say it one more time. You got cut off a little bit. One more time.
What happens if a comet hit the space station? What would you do?
So great question. You know, we practice 3 different things that could happen to us that we have worried about. Just like you guys at school, probably you have fire drills, right? Sometimes we have fire drills up here. We also have what we call depressurization. So if something hit the space station and made a hole, and we started to depressurize, all the air would go outside. This is what I mean by that. We have hatches. So as you saw, as I was flying through, there's these squares, right, that between each module, between each laboratory, and at each of those squares is a hatch, and so we can close those hatches and they're airtight. So for a fire or a depressurization, or if there's some bad gas, because this is a closed system, some bad gases up here, we can isolate a module, close the hatch, and make sure we don't all get hurt or anything like that if that happens. Worst comes to worst, if the space station is like really injured because of maybe a micrometeorite or something, we can always get in our spacecraft, which is our lifeboat, and we can go home. So that's the plan. So our spacecraft is docked up to the top, and that's where we would go in case we had any emergency. We'd go right to our spacecraft.
Another question? Yeah, say your name too for your question.
How long is the space trip?
How long is the space trip? Well, they range in time. I've been up here a couple times, and the first time was about almost 200 days. The second time was about 150 days, and this is coming up around 280 days, I think, this one. So it just depends because it's hard to get to space. So when the weather is good in Florida, or we also launch from Kazakhstan, when the weather is good in Kazakhstan, rocket ready to go, then we launch, and then we wait until the next crew is ready to come up here so we can hand over, so we don't leave the space station ever empty. We want to make sure the other crew is here, which is, for us, it's going to be crew 10. They're supposed to launch on March 12th, and then we would be here for like 2 days with them, and then we would say goodbye, and we would come home somewhere around the 16th or so. So it ranges, it just depends when we can get a rocket up here and a spacecraft up here.
Tom, we want a question about God in space.
Yeah.
Anybody have a question about God in space? So I'll ask it. Sonny, so here we are
Yeah.
in faith formation, all these kids, and we're wondering, like, how do you find God in space? Like, what is it like to have that perspective? And, how does faith affect your experience way up there?
Yeah, this is a great question. Our father asked me about that too. It's like, so what is this all about, right? So, I mean, we're here doing really amazing science experiments because we can, because it's in microgravity, but I wanted to start with you guys with that view of the planet, right, first and foremost, and I'm going to show you one more time, and maybe you can figure out what I'm going to get at. We're just coming up to our Dragon spacecraft. Hold on for just a second. I'm going to turn the camera once more. Stand by. And I think that is pretty compelling, right? Like, how does that happen? How did that happen? Out of all of the stars, you can't see it because it's daytime right now, but when it's nighttime, it's like the sky is just incredibly filled with stars. It's ridiculous because we have nothing that gets in the way. Like on Earth, you have the atmosphere which blurs your vision. It's like being in a pool and trying to see through all that water. That's what it's like on Earth. And here it's like crystal clear. I'm not sure if you've ever seen pictures that we've taken while we were out doing spacewalks, and you can see how crystal clear it is. But how did that happen? It's a miracle, right?
Yep.
And we're there. That's where you are. Of all of that vastness out in space, that's where you are. That's I think something higher being that does that. So I don't know how else to explain it. It just makes you think about the things that are just miracles in this that we encounter every day that we sometimes don't even pay attention to. Like I look out the window and I see a planet that's totally alive. It's not just the people, it's not just the animal, it's not just the plants. It's the whole environment, the clouds, the water, the interaction, and somehow all of that is there on this one planet Earth that allows all of us to live there. That's pretty cool. People always ask me, what's my favorite planet? And, like Saturn is beautiful, of course. Mars is awesome because it's red. But there's no other planet that you can be in your bathing suit except for this one. So that's why I love this planet. And that's why we all need to realize that this is a miracle right here. does it all work? You know, I mean, there has to be some reason it's like this, right? So I'm gonna bring you back over here and I'm gonna put the iPad up so I can talk to y'all. Okay. So absolutely. All right. Now, there's always the science of it, which is great and fun. You know, like I was quickly demonstrating that we not only is my hair flying, but every part of us flies, and all of this craziness. I was just to be able to hear. Yes, it's my sister's church, students and adults. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, Don has something sort of cool over here. Something a little different. Okay.
So I got this little bag. Oh, what do I have in the bag? Oh,
What's in the bag, Don?
it looks like a string.
Hey, wait a minute.
The yo-yo. But this is not any ordinary yo-yo. This is a high-tech yo-yo, highly modified for use in space. And this is not a toy. There's really good physics in the way these yo-yos work. So watch this. As long as the yo-yo moves in a circle, in an arc, it's controllable. But if it moves in a manner other than an arc, then it gets really difficult to control. And that's because when it moves in an arc, it creates its own gravity, and that gravity keeps the string tight. So there's a lot of physics in here, a lot of physics. This is not a toy. This is physics on it. With that, have fun.
I don't know if you guys can do that on Earth. I have a feeling you can. People ask how we are flying in space, right? Because we don't fire our engines. We're just floating around the planet because of gravity, right? And so it's just like if you had a string, sort of like Don was showing with the arc, and a ball on a string. To keep it going around and around, you have to keep that energy into it. And that is what the gravity is pushing us around, right? If you went a little bit slower, if we were flying just a little bit slower, we'd start to come back toward Earth. And as a matter of fact, that's how we come home. All we do, once we undock our spacecraft, we'll just slow down just a little bit. And the speed that we go to, a little bit less than we are right now, drive us to come right back to Earth and we'll land in the ocean. I see some kids getting ready to go. Thank you so much for coming. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned something. Good to see you all.
Let it do a trick.
Yeah, good luck.
Can you do a trick with a yo-yo?
Sure.
Oh my gosh, it still breaks my heart.
Japanese as well as Russian and English. And so English is the prime language up here, but half of the space station is Russian. So there's Cyrillic writing, and we talk to mission control in Russian. So yeah, we both speak the language. Why did I become an astronaut? Because it's fun, honestly. I like working with teams. I like being curious and trying to figure out how things work. Don is just amazing. It's fun to be up here and pick his brain. He's growing crystals in space, which are a lot different from Earth because they don't have gravity that does anything to them. So we could watch hopper growth. If you look it up on the internet, hopper growth, which is inverse like pyramids. Crystals grow that way because they can. So it's just interesting. It makes you think outside of the box by being up here. He actually even had an aquarium up here on one of my flights. How would you do that in space, knowing what you saw with that water sphere? It makes you think differently. It makes you solve problems differently, and it's really fun to do that. So it makes you ask questions and find new solutions. That's why I'm an astronaut.
We got one more question.
Where are you, like, if you see the Earth,
Over the Earth.
state of you in?
Thanks.
Yeah, when I first showed you guys the Earth right there, we had just flown past Baja, California, and we were right to the west of South America. And so probably right now, let's see, hold on for just a second. We have a couple little portholes over here. I'll open them, see if I can see where we are. There's another view. Ooh, it's dark. We must be getting close to getting into the dark. So that means that we are on what they call the terminator, which is the line between light and dark, which means it's probably getting dark over somewhere in Europe right now. Yeah, because it's 4 o'clock in Europe, so we're probably a little bit east of Europe, so maybe over Africa at this point in time, a little southeast. So by the time, when I started this conversation, we were on the west coast of the United States. We were probably around South America, and now over by Africa. So that's how fast we're flying. 5 miles a second, 17,500 miles an hour. So we